So this super high-class lady with great posture and manners is actually this country's top brawler, who's way too happy to punch some scumbags. This anime is really good and different, dude, so stick with me till the end. You're gonna love it. So let's get into the video. The lady asks the prince to repeat himself, and the jerk tells Scarlet Elvendimian that he's calling off their engagement. He announces to the whole ballroom that he'll marry Theronetsa Hopkins from the Hopkins baronial family. Everyone applauds and agrees like puppets. Theronetsa says she'll be very happy by the prince's side and will nurture the great love they share. The prince says that's beautiful, unlike the woman in front of him, who has an expressionless face, the one he's been playing fiancé with for 17 years. He even says Scarlet is a stupid and boring woman, that he couldn't take it anymore. Scarlet, all polite, says their marriage was arranged between her Vandimian family and the prince's royal family. So this little jerk can't just call off the engagement like that, since the marriage was decided before they were even born. Cal von Paristan says he can because Scarlet committed crimes, like mistreating Theronetsa at the academy because Cal paid more attention to her. Thing is, Scarlet had never seen that girl until today. He and the skank next to him are just framing Scarlet to ruin her life, and the brainless fools believe it. Cal says Scarlet is a prejudiced elitist who mistreated Theronetsa for being in the common course and not the special one like her. The scoundrels say whatever nonsense they want, and Scarlet accepts the end of the marriage and agrees to be the villain of the story. So no need to hold back anymore. Scarlet asks Prince Kyle for one last request. He asks if she wants money or jewels, but then Scarlet walks towards him and clenches her fist. She wants to smash her hand right into that skank Theronetsa's face and goes for the punch. With that said, Scarlet narrates her story leading up to this tense moment. As a kid, she always liked hitting others. Her brother Leonardo talks about the time Scarlet beat up the boy from the Alexia family, but it was for good reason. To save a commoner child, Scarlet never hits anyone without a good reason behind it. She told her brother she does it for the good of the people and her world. When Leonardo arrived at the crime scene, little Scarlet was stained with the rich kid's blood and laughing like it was something amazing. Scarlet pretends she doesn't like it, and Leonardo says she needs to stop the violence and behave like a proper lady. At a certain royal family ball, Scarlet met Prince Kyle, who was rude to her right from the first meeting, calling her dumb and ordering her to work for him. From then on, Kyle always bullied Scarlet in every way possible. All that was left for the Vandimian lady was to endure the frustration and anger and move on, because her father couldn't undo a marriage arranged by the royal family. When Scarlet turned 15, she entered the Royal Academy for Nobles. Her classmates admired her a lot, saying she had a classy air about her, and she got first place in the aptitude exam. The pride of the nobles, the Ice Rose. Kyle obviously grew up to be a bigger jerk and wanted to make her his slave. By this time, she was already used to hearing the prince's nonsense. The guy is ridiculous, wanting her to buy his lunch right when the class bell rang. He went to her classroom and grabbed her by the uniform collar, a clueless guy with no character or manners. She even threatened other people not to rat him out to the teachers. In a private conversation with Scarlet, he said he hated how he was treated just because she's in the special course and he's in the common one. Besides having no character, he's incompetent. Scarlet understood why he was more irritated than usual. Prince Kyle grabs a knife and threatens to cut Scarlet's silver hair, saying he'll show it to the classmates in the common course. Scarlet is just about to punch him, but then Crown Prince Julius intervenes and tells the couple to stop their little squabble. He climbs down from the tree and says it's because of this kind of attitude that Kyle got demoted to the common course. The younger brother is all pissed off, and Julius apologizes to Scarlet for his brother's behavior. The Vandimian lady says it's nothing, since he always acts like this. Julius turns on the alarm and says he heard his foolish little brother was treating his fiancée in a very immature way, but he hopes the knife threats aren't a frequent occurrence, and tells Kyle to give him a good explanation. Kyle says it was Scarlet who bothered him too much, and orders his lackey, Sigurd, to remove Julius from a scene. But a mere servant can't remove a member of the royal family, especially the crown prince. With that said, Kyle says there will be payback and leaves. Scarlet thanks Julius for his help in saving her, but the prince actually saved his brother from getting a beating. Scarlet is impressed by his sharp observation. She asks what Julius was doing up in the tree. He replies reading a book, because doing it in the classroom just attracts more and more bootlickers to him. Scarlet really wished the members of his group could hear that. And she explains that in the kingdom of Palestine, there are two princes. Julius, the eldest son of the queen, who doesn't tolerate injustice, which made the corrupt nobles want to crown the jerk Kyle. Thanks to that, there are always conflicts between the two factions. Julius says he wouldn't mind spending more time in the classroom, since he found something much more interesting than a book, but Scarlet doesn't like that look in his eyes. At school, the aptitude test results came out, and Prince Julius got first place, taking Scarlet's usual spot. Everyone is impressed that the guy got top marks in every subject. Scarlet only didn't get top marks in fencing and magic, because the teachers, out of mere whim, said her sword handling was unsatisfactory and her magic circles were sloppy. She's annoyed that Julius got first place. And speaking of him, the guy shows up and whispers in Scarlet's ear that it was way too easy to get top marks. Scarlet takes this as a challenge, and from that day on, the two became almost like rivals. Scarlet managed to get first place again, but Julius told her it was good to see her putting in the effort outdoors, and that he let her win, patting her head, so much so that her classmates think there's love in the air. Scarlet started avoiding Crown Prince Julius. At sunset, Julius thinks it's a pity his brother has such an interesting fiancée, and says that of all the animals he's observed, Scarlet is the most intriguing one. She gets mad about it. The guy sees her as a rare specimen and is just studying her. From then on, she stored up a lot of rage and stress, spending years dreaming of the day she'd beat up the princes. Cutting back to the present, she throws a punch into Theranetz's face, who falls down beautifully. After that, Scarlet puts on her gloves and says everyone's going to get hit. After all, they're all Kyle's disgusting noble followers, putting the guards to sleep with magic. Scarlet starts beating up everyone. The disgusting guys blurt out that they own slaves, and we're hoping that with Kyle becoming king, the legal slave trade would become a reality. With that, Scarlet will take great pleasure in finishing them all off, and that's exactly what the Van Diemen lady does. One of the nobles remembers her nickname, the Furious Beast Lady. Scarlet, with blood on her face, invites Kyle for one last dance at this ball. Scarlet punches the jerk right in the face, ignoring the warning from her brother Leonardo and the arrival of Prince Julius. Now she feels much more relieved. Scarlet is pissed to see Prince Julius in her presence. He says he came after hearing about the ball situation, but wants to know the reason for all the violence. Scarlet says those nobles committed horrible crimes she dares not repeat. Plus, they didn't reflect on their mistakes and acted totally selfishly. Julius asks her to be more direct. Scarlet simply got angry and beat everyone up. Julius believes it must have been a spectacle, Scarlet's fist pounding everyone. Leonardo, on the other hand, is worried about the family's reputation now, which had been at peace for 10 years. Then Scarlet starts feeling dizzy and faints right there. She hears the sound of the church bell that whistles the time god Cronoa, and realizes she used that god's blessing power too much. When she wakes up, there's a maid on top of her with a knife, about to take her out, but the lady already sends her flying with a punch that pins her to the wall. Leonardo arrives and is almost having a fit with each atrocity he discovers about his sister. The fight Scarlet started is being talked about throughout the whole kingdom. According to Julius, the people are happy with her attitude, the fist heroine who put criminals in jail. Her bloodstained silhouette, while terrible, is beautiful at the same time, which is why she got the title of Bloody Princess. Leonardo goes crazy over this. One terrible title is replaced by another. Then Julius says the country will be very busy now, as there will be a heavy investigation to replace all the corrupt nobles in the assembly. And there's still the advisor, Godwin Benet Carmen, who heavily influenced the trash nobles to follow Prince Kyle. He's the one who needs the harshest punishment. Julius and Leonardo plan a way to clean up all this filth and whoever is behind it all, which is why they created the Court Investigation Bureau. Leo is acting as the director of this organization. Later, Scarlet goes to a cabin and a wild cat attacks her. Scarlet is cool with the slap it gives and tells Nanika of the Farah people to return to her human form for a better conversation. Nanika does this and Scarlet sees it was the maid from before who is actually a man. And by the mark he has, he's someone's slave, meaning he has no choice but to obey the orders to take out Lady Scarlet. She says if she frees him from the slave magic, she wants to know everything about Nanika's contractor. He accepts, somewhat doubtful, but gets tripped up, and Scarlet uses a reversal magic on Nanika. In this world, people are blessed by various types of gods and receive the gift of life. Most people don't realize which god gave them their power and never awaken it, but some manage to, and when that happens, it's called a blessing. Scarlet reversed the time of Nanika's body to the moment before he was a slave. This is the blessing of Cronoa, the god of time, the power of reversal, and that's the reason the royal court wants to capture her. But there are several criteria for using it. Scarlet can only use her blessing for a short time. Otherwise, it shortens her life and she could kick the bucket. During the ball, she used the acceleration power and that's why she fainted. She asks Nanika not to tell anyone about her power. Nanika says his contractor is the noble Godwin, who ordered him to take out the bloody princess because she beat up his son, a guy named Rain who was involved with Prince Kyle. But Nanika didn't want to kill her, just gather information on the Van Diemen Duchy. Godwin is a trash human being who makes people infiltrate nobles' houses like Nanika did, to dig up dirt on the nobles, thus forcing them into trafficking people and taking bribes, obliging them to side with him. With that said, Scarlet decides to take down Godwin, but Nanika says it's better to ask Director Leo for help. Scarlet, however, wants to beat the crap out of the old man before her brother and Prince Julius capture him. After all, for Scarlet, Punching whoever irritates you is basic lady etiquette. Nanika says that once a month Godwin appears at a slave auction, which will happen in a week. For this, they need to get information from the merchants to find the location of the criminal event. The two form a duo and head out on the mission. Julius heard everything from outside the cabin. The two head to the commoner part of the kingdom 3 days later. Prince Julius is following them and wants to see how Scarlet will handle the Godwin situation, with the goal of doing his social study. Because when he becomes king, he wants to truly change the country. So he needs to be present where the people live to understand their difficulties and hardships. But in reality, Julius just wants to have fun watching Scarlet punch everyone. With that said, some vandals show up wanting to rob them, and Scarlet is already ready to punch the worthless scum. Nanika says he wants to know where John Key, the middleman, is, but the guys aren't going to talk easily. The bandits really just want to rob the defenseless nobles wandering around. Scarlet uses her Cronoa acceleration and doesn't spare any of the sorry lot, delivering satisfying punches and kicks. One of the bandits finally recognizes Scarlet and calls her the punching princess. The lady now wants the pertinent information, and the thug wants her to spare his life, so he spills everything about John Key. But he still gets beaten up. Scarlet wants to know why Julius did nothing and just watched. He says he was marveling at the performance. Julius goes to extract information from John Key and manages easily, with his bluff that John Key spilled the slave info to other merchants. On the way back, Scarlet and Julius want to know how to infiltrate a slave into this criminal auction and look at Nanika, who has an idea. A noble from the kingdom of Palestine is surprised that Lady Scarlet showed up to acquire a slave. But even if she wants a slave in secret from her father, dealing with a scoundrel like John Key will only stain her reputation. Scarlet says she can't find him and asks what Zadarin's relationship with John Key is. He says they aren't close. The two just have a contract where John Key brings him slaves who fled from the suburbs and have eccentric value like elves, dwarves, winged folk, demons, and beast folk. The beast folk representatives have the highest value, like Nanika, who's with Scarlet. She wants to know how Zadarin found out about Nanika. He says it was by his appearance, and Zadarin says this beast folk slave of Scarlet's is a great calling card. The lady is furious and holds herself back from wrecking this creep's face. Zadarin wants to know what slave she desires. The lady says she wants to participate in the upcoming auction. For that, she'd need to pass a verification, which would reveal her identity and require proof of purchasing at least 6 slaves for her family, and that could take about 6 months. Scarlet says if it's all about money, she can pay. But Zadarin says if she can hand over Nanika, he can take her to the auction as his daughter, and she'll pass through the auction just fine. Scarlet acts like never before and accepts with an open heart. Scarlet is outraged that important people in the kingdom constantly do this rotten auction. But the good thing is their plan to infiltrate worked. Nanika was surprised Scarlet resolved everything through dialogue. Scarlet meets up with Prince Julius at the city market, and a vendor offers a beautiful apple pie to the pretty lady. Julius orders one for both of them and escorts Scarlet to get away from the vendors who offer overpriced products that aren't even worth it. However, he buys everything for Lady Scarlet. She asks if he has anything better to do here. He says he has nothing. Scarlet punches the wall, wishing it was the prince's face. Then, to calm her, Julius gives her the apple pie, which is way too tasty. The two sit on a small bench, and Julius says he really likes relaxing among the people. Scarlet says she only came here to buy lunch for the second prince. Julius has always admired Scarlet since she was little. He always found everything in this world boring, but with Scarlet, it's different. She always entertains him. The guy is very forward and gives her cheek a kiss. Julius says his feelings are very different from the common romances out there. Scarlet is very precious to the prince, more than anything in this world. At sunset, Scarlet lies down in her room at an inn and thinks. Julius might have done that just to provoke her and play with her feelings. The next day, Scarlet meets with Zadarin for the slave auction and promises to hand over Nanika. He might even accept, but first wants to confirm if he really is part of the beast folk. All as a precaution, because sometimes people sell folks who are just pretending to be beast folk. Nanika transforms and shows he's the real deal. So Zadarin says he'll be the featured product of the auction. Just then, a guard named Donovan, who's a beast man, shows up. He must be a lycanthrope, and Nanika doesn't like the crazy look in his eyes. He puts a collar on him to take him away and almost whips Nanika, but Scarlet stops him and says she'll be the one to train this wolf boy. The guy has the nerve to call Scarlet a lady of the night, to put it nicely. Zadarin says this beast man used to be a Class A adventurer, so it's best not to mess with him. But to Scarlet, that's nothing. She's way stronger and punches the guy, sending him flying. Then she heals Nanika's wounds and swears she'll come back for him. Zadarin is now scared shitless and will do everything right for Lady Scarlet. Her brother Leonardo arrives, angry, and wants to hear all the crazy stuff she did. The auction will happen in 2 days at night, and Leonardo needs to prepare everything on time. Write the plan, gather the soldiers, etc. Leonardo asks Scarlett to return home, but the brawler doesn't want to. Since the day she broke off her engagement, a lot of things have happened. That's why she doesn't care about anything anymore and can't hold back from hitting those who deserve it. Plus, she's met many children in horrible situations having to beg for food. Since she was very young, she thought it made no sense for good people to suffer so much while rotten people get away with it. That's why she wants to beat up the filthy nobles to take out her anger. No one is better suited for this than her, a duke's daughter, who can do it and get away with it. Leonardo is worried about the family's reputation if Scarlett keeps beating up the kingdom's nobles. Leonardo says there are suspicions that Godwin is also involved with Vanquish, an empire that's been in a cycle of conflict with Palestine for 300 years. They're mostly a military nation specialized in dragon riding. However, since the latest ceasefire, the two countries have been trying to build a friendly relationship. Leonardo reveals that the individual link to Godwin might be from the aerial assault troops, the Crimson Celestial Dragon Order. Speaking of the rat, Godwin is pissed that Scarlett is messing up his plans and asks a soldier from Vanquish to eliminate her. He leaves on his dragon, and the skank who was with the second prince shows Godwin a firearm given to her by Palmia. He's never seen this type of item before, and the hag demonstrates its firepower. She tells Godwin to use it against anyone who gets in their way. Scarlett arrives at the auction and Zadarin gives her a mask to enter the venue. Julius tells Leo that if the Crimson Dragonite Order of Vanquish is involved, it's actually better that Scarlett got in. There's no time until the auction, and for undercover agents, only 10 from the Investigation Bureau could go. Plus, they'd have to lose their weapons to enter. Exactly for that reason, Scarlett can handle everything even unarmed with her power. Thus, Lady Scarlett's new nickname will be Fist of Salvation. Leo's team is prepared, they just need Scarlett's part to work and for her to give the signal. Scarlett enters with Prince Julius and has a request for the blondie. She offers her unshakable loyalty to the royal family until the day she dies in exchange for this favor. Julius doesn't like that. He wants Scarlett to swear loyalty only to him. He's very forward and wants it now. Scarlett says it's not worth it to coerce her like that, you charmer. Godwin is watching the stage from above, so Julius says they'll show him the biggest beating he's ever seen. Because now the old man is going to get beaten up and become Scarlett's punching bag. Underground, an elf mother is taken out as a product, and there's nothing the imprisoned slaves can do. Nanika tries to calm the child and says everything will be okay. Scarlett runs into some rotten scoundrels on the way and wants to have fun with them before the main course. Without any mercy, Scarlett beats up everyone there to the sound of a classical Beethoven symphony. She kicks and punches all over the place and ends up finding Godwin. His son already freaks out at Lady Scarlett's presence. He tries to summon his lightning magic to attack Scarlett, but Prince Julius uses his ring that nullifies magic to stop it. Godwin realizes right away that if he can use that royal artifact, it can only mean the prince himself is there. The most beautiful blondie terrifies everyone. The rotten nobles refuse to believe it's Prince Julius, and so they call for the beast man Donovan, whom Scarlett defeated earlier. But the guard Sigurd cuts the beast's arm off before he can do anything. Scarlett, with a smile on her face, sends all the criminals flying, causing the biggest chaos at the auction. Leo went to check on the mission and was horrified by the blood on his sister and all the unconscious people. Scarlett says she still needs to go after Godwin, and Julius has to call the castle guards. Julius gives the signal and the team prepares. Leo uses clairvoyance magic and finds out where Godwin and his son are. They are fleeing towards a staircase leading to the roof, and a vanquished knight is there. Scarlett takes off her shoes and uses her time magic, rushing off to smash Godwin. With her superhuman speed, she's capable of that. Scarlett appears before the vanquished knight can kill Godwin with his dragon. The guy is so impressed he proposes to the lady, but immediately gets punched in the face and sent flying. Not even the dragon is a match for Scarlett. This only made Alflame fall even more in love. Because of this, Scarlett hits him more, but the guy is resistant and keeps getting up. Although he's all shaky, Scarlett knows very well who the lovesick redhead is. He's the Prince of Vanquish, and his duty is to finish off Godwin, as they don't care about an old man who sold out his own nation just to get a high position in the Vanquish Empire. He almost finishes the old man off, but Scarlett won't let him take her prey, and so Alflame grabs Scarlett by the ankle, which isn't very chivalrous. Scarlett sees the man as confidence as robust as his physique. Alflame reveals that his blessing from the goddess of steel, Meteor, allows him to metalize his body, and no physical attack works against the Prince of Vanquish. Scarlett says there is a way to beat him and knees him in the face, repeating it many times. Alflame seems to enjoy getting hit, as he doesn't stop complimenting the Lady Brawler. However, while his body may be steel, his mind still takes the impact, and thus he suffers a concussion. Scarlett grabs the crazy guy and sends him flying back to Vanquish. To avoid getting beaten, Godwin reveals that he used Theronetza to break off Scarlett's engagement. Now the lady really wants to make him pay for the humiliation she went through. Then Godwin says it was all Veronezza's idea, and that her true identity is that she's not from this world. Using the power of a goddess, she was reincarnated into this world after kicking the bucket. Zadarin tries to escape from the prince's guard, and before that wants to take the beastman Nanako with him. But Leo, Sigurd, and the crew arrive to mess things up. Scarlett is surprised that Veronezza is behind everything, but what she really wants is to smash Godwin's face in. The old man says Scarlett can have anything she wants with the power he has. So the bloody lady really just wants to punch a filthy old man who's rotten inside. Scarlett uses overclock magic, making the world move at 1/100th of its normal speed. She's the only one who can move within this field. With this, Scarlett lands multiple punches on Godwin, for the kingdom, for Nanaka, for herself, and for the pleasure of hitting someone. Thus, the beautiful lady satisfies herself and the scoundrel flies and smashes into the wall. Scarlett used her blessing too much, causing her silver hair to turn a bit black and her hands to bleed. She falls, but Julius catches her and uses his healing on her. The group arrives to help her, then Godwin surprises them with a firearm and shoots to take the lady out. However, Julius steps in front to protect her. Godwin is all happy that the prince decided to play the hero, but Scarlett doesn't waste time and immediately lays into Godwin. She grabs the necklace he had, given by the young saint who holds the power of the goddess Palmia. Scarlett doesn't care about that and wants to beat Godwin until he kicks the bucket. With that, he goes flying, and Scarlett says she's avenged Julius's death, but the guy is perfectly alive with his healing magic, and he asks if Scarlett was sad. She says she's very happy that Julius is okay. Veronezza goes hooded to the prison and enchants the guards to obey her. Her desire is to marry a handsome prince and live a fairy tale romance, being the most beloved princess of all. Her perfect happy ending. Godwin thanks Veronezza for coming and says he'll do anything for the goddess Palmia if she gets him out of his cell. Veronezza says she's grateful for everything and happy for Godwin's services. So she enchants the old man with the blessing of the goddess Palmia and places a vial inside the cell. She leaves and lets Godwin poison himself. Now Veronezza wants to finish off the villain of her story, Scarlett. The brawler lady visits her school friends to chat. Everything was going fine, but then Prince Julius shows up to torment the poor girl again. She says his presence is a bother here, but her friends don't think that at all. It's actually an honor for them. With that said, Julius asks to borrow Scarlett to have a private conversation. The two girls are freaking out about the vibe between them and want love to blossom. Julius says he investigated Veronezza, but found out nothing from his brother Kyle. Because of this, Scarlett wants to know if something is missing. Julius asks about her hair, and Scarlett says there's nothing to be done, but she has considered going to the hot springs that relieve the physical and mental stress from blessings. Julius thinks that's great and starts picking flowers, talking about how his parents met by a lake, observing nature. Julius's father, with all his love, gave a flower crown, just like Julius does now for Scarlett. He needs her to make his world shine and be fun. These forward words would touch anyone, especially with him touching Scarlett's face. But the guy calls her his beloved toy. What a crazy bastard. Scarlett gets furious with Prince Julius and really wants to punch him. So she asks Julius to let her punch the bastard in front of her with all her hatred. Scarlett tells Leo she'd like to travel to the hot springs, but he thinks she's just making up excuses to hit someone. Leo had thought she and Julius had made vows of love, and now that he knows the truth, he's disappointed. Leo remembers that Scarlett always wants to travel around this time of year. Could her next victim be the saint? But Scarlett says she'd never do that to someone as important to Palestine as the saint. With that said, Leo permits the trip, and Scarlett goes with a smile on her face, but she'll have to travel in the company of Prince Julius. Julius reveals that since the Godwin incident, the movements between countries have gotten weird. They cleaned out the corrupt nobles, but the palace is still in chaos. From the carriage, you can see the starting point of the pilgrimage destination, the Wall of Impurity. Inside this place is a Pominism church whose priest is a greedy, immoral merchant named Sargon, the opportunistic parvenu. Now Scarlett has someone to punch. However, the gate closes to prevent the pilgrimage from happening. Julius complains about this childish attitude, and another priest named Jarmov shows up talking nonsense. He looks like a bad guy, and Scarlett is dying to punch his face in. So Scarlett uses Krenoa's blessing and forces her way in with Julius. The soldiers run away because they realize who Lady Scarlett is. Then Jarmov wants to fight, but Scarlett stops him with a spear, sends his iron ball right back at him, and then sends him flying into space. Scarlett and Julius go to meet Saint Diana. The prince wants to talk in private about the pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Then the saint appears, calls Scarlett Big Sister, and is all happy to see her. Julius says the saint should greet him too, but that attitude isn't suitable for a saint, according to Julius. Diana is furious with the prince and tells him to get lost. She doesn't want any man touching her and asks Scarlett to beat him up. Little does she know the protagonist wants to do that all the time, but holds back. The meeting with Diana begins, and Scarlett tells the story of the pilgrimage to the Holy Land, which dates back 300 years. When the kingdom of Palestine was constantly attacked by demons and its territories were being taken over, but then a young woman with exorcism powers appeared near the border and used a light-type attack on the beasts and saved everyone. She went to villages in the four corners of the kingdom and placed pure crystals to create a barrier, thus protecting Palestine from horrendous monsters. But then, the effect of this barrier wasn't maintained after that young woman's death. Because of this, another girl with the same name, Diana, appeared, who restored the crystals and repaired the barrier. Since then, the king of Palestine erected a cathedral for young girls born with divine powers, who would be worshipped as symbols of faith. After that, with each generation, a new priestess Diana is born, who with exorcism powers always restores Palestine's barrier. The march for the pilgrimage with Saint Diana begins. The people are all amazed by her elegant appearance and cheer for Saint Diana. But out of nowhere, a tremor happens repeatedly, causing Scarlett to leave the carriage to see what it is. The noise is coming from the Pauminism headquarters, and using Cronoa's blessing, Scarlett quickly heads there. She smashes the statue of the goddess Palmia, borrowing her spear to beat up some fools. Scarlett uses her Cronoa blessing and chucks the spear at the Palmia Cathedral, destroying everything. The religious faithful are in disbelief at this. Then Scarlett appears before them and is surprised no one's hurt, despite the damage she did to the building. The silver demon won't get away with this against Palmia's followers, they shout. Scarlett makes fun of them, and the fanatics trust their ugly, bald inquisitor to handle Lady Scarlett. The bald guy goes crazy seeing Scarlett holding the head of the goddess's statue, and says she'll pay for this sin using his club magic. But he gets hit in the face with a golden head and loses real quick. The guys cry about carrying out their plan in Palmia's name. But Scarlett doesn't care about these weak fanatics and knocks the bald one out. She then starts beating up all the others for the chaos they caused. Now the lady is going to give them a world of hurt to see if they stop being stupid. Scarlett took care of the religious fanatics and heads outside, leaving the guys' prison to the royal guard. In the city, the royal palace healers have arrived to treat the civilians' injuries. Saint Diana is happy and calls for Scarlett, when suddenly the platform she's on starts to crack and collapses. The priestess almost gets seriously hurt on the ground, but a handsome knight arrives to her rescue. Scarlett's older brother, Leonardo Van Diemen. Diana falls in love at first sight with a noble and gentle man. Julius talks with Sigurd and wants to know how the Pauminists knew the time he and Scarlett would arrive for the pilgrimage. So he asks Sigurd to infiltrate the Pauminists and find out who among them is disguised within the pilgrimage entourage. Julius doesn't want there to be a traitor, but he needs to take precautions. Man, I'm suspicious of Sigurd, folks. I doubt everyone. At night, Saint Diana's handmaidens ask Scarlett for help with the saint's behavior. The girl is all happy and bouncy, and nobody knows why. When Scarlett enters her tent, that's when the priestess gets even more excited. Then Diana explains that every time she looks at Scarlett, she's reminded of her older brother Leo, and confesses she fell in love with him when he saved her. Scarlett is happy for Diana having good taste in men. After all, her brother is a fine and respected man. Scarlett will help Diana get closer to Leo and has an idea. A week later, the pilgrimage reaches the city of Memphis on Palestine's border. There, the saint receives many visits from travelers due to the number of hot springs. The two, in their hot spring bath, plan Diana's meeting with Leonardo. The saint will invite him for an evening date at the city festival. Scarlett gets her dressed in yukata with her hair down, a very casual vibe to hook Leo. Diana is amazed that the punch-happy lady knows so much about dating stuff. Truth is, Scarlett had already told her brother to accept Diana's invitation for a walk, to fulfill her wish to be a normal girl. When Diana invites him, Leo accepts without a problem. Julius and Scarlett walk together at the festival, and on the way they run into some annoying adventurers who are breaking merchant stuff. Scarlett is going to beat them up, and Julius pays the old man for everything he lost, and everything he's about to lose from the beating Scarlett will give the scoundrels. Diana and Leonardo enjoy the moment together and do various things, even try on matching cat ears. The girl is sad that Leo only sees her as a little sister because she reminds him of a younger Scarlett. But then Leo needs to go see what his sister has gotten into this time, and Diana needs to return to the inn, unable to tell him she's lost her powers as a priestess. In the Vanquish Empire, an old man from Pauminism, Inquisitor Michelin, asks His Highness Alflame and his Crimson Dragon Knights for a little favor that I end the Palmia religion. An extra tells His Holiness the pilgrimage has reached Memphis, and the faithful are worried, but His Holiness says not to panic, because he has a spy within the pilgrimage whom he trusts completely. Little does the fat old man know that Sigurd is disguised as a soldier and is listening to everything. The pilgrimage marches deep into the mountain, and Saint Diana is really exhausted. Scarlett tells her to hang in there. It's just a little further. Leo takes the saint's hand and says they can stop to rest for a while if Diana wants. but she, all embarrassed by her crush, says she's fine and can walk much more. The soldiers are also tired, and the commander says this is no way to honor the Dianism order. He apologizes to Lady Scarlet for this pathetic scene from his men. However, Scarlet Van Diemen says it's nothing. After all, the soldiers are wearing heavy armor and scanning the area, always alert to dangers. With her pure smile, Scarlet cheers up the soldiers who think a goddess is standing before them, and they gain more strength to continue the hike. Julius says this pure maiden trick is great for manipulating men, truly living up to her villain role. Scarlet remarks that she won't always be the pure and adorable Scarlet. Julius says that from the looks of it, it seems like Scarlet was always pure and adorable since childhood. Then she says that's right to the Golden Monarch, a nickname Leo told her the ladies at night parties called Julius. Then the nosy guy Dios shows up, saying Scarlet seems happier talking to Prince Julius, even more lively, and Julius agrees. Scarlet says Sir Dios is stronger than he looks. He reveals that forests and mountains are like backyards for elves, so he feels much more at ease. This made Dios go up in Scarlet's estimation, which bothers Dios, but only a little. He's confused if he should take it slow to avoid messing up. Scarlet says that's a good question and smiles. Dios goes crazy over a lady's smile and asks Scarlet for a chance to win her heart. With that said, Scarlet is annoyed by the insistence, and Julius asks Leo and the others to walk ahead a bit so they aren't caught in the crossfire. Then Scarlet uses wind magic and launches Dios into Earth's orbit. Scarlet says maybe in his next reincarnation he can try again. The group arrives at the Memphis Crystal, and Leo observes it's very impure and damaged, all in just 1 year. He tells his sister that's where the saint changes, so Scarlet says it's no problem, since she's also a saint. This leaves Leo with "are you kidding me" face. Then the handmaidens arrive and give the sacred robes to Scarlet to change into. Leo is in shock, thinks this is some scheme of his sister's, and asks her what's going on. Julius can't stop laughing and tells the lady to just spill the truth already. Scarlet reveals there isn't only one saint in Dianism. Just like Diana, she is also a priestess. Publicly, there's only one saint, but since the third generation, 2 saints have been born to protect the kingdom of Palestine. The saint's power depends on the blessing of Cronoa. One of them purifies the corruption in the crystal, while the other installs a new barrier. However, with Saint Diana unable to install the barrier, they'll need more than just a yearly purification of the crystal. Using Cronoa's power, Scarlet will rewind the barrier's time, purify it, and install the divine barrier. So Lady Scarlet begins the purification rite and starts removing the impurities. Diana finds everything her big sister does beautiful. Dios returns from space and finds all this very extravagant. His commander tells him to be quiet, as Scarlet's robe is to protect her body from the sacred crystal. With that said, Cronoa's blessing activates, and the crystal reverts to its past state. Leo is amazed by this, and Julius says that even among Cronoa's blessings, the power to rewind time is very rare. That's why the royal family kept it a secret from Scarlet's family that she is a saint of Dianism. Leo now understands why Scarlet was chosen to be Prince Kyle's fiancée, and why Julius is trying to build a connection with her. Julius thinks Leo didn't like his answer regarding his motives. Leo says that's not it at all. The rite ends, and the next location for the pilgrimage is Snowwind to the north. Diana goes to congratulate Scarlet, who notices her little one isn't feeling well. Diana feels guilty for not being able to help and thinks she's useless. Scarlet comforts her with a hug and looks forward to next year's pilgrimage. Diana feels more relieved, and Dios watches everything with a suspicious look. The journey continues, and Julius seems thoughtful. In his tent, he receives a message from Sigurd saying there's a traitor in the pilgrimage. He can't confirm the identity yet, and there might be more than one. In the present, Leo snaps Julius out of his thoughts, and Julius says it's pretty cold where they are. Leo says it's because they're in Snowend, the city where it snows all year round. Scarlet doesn't handle the cold well, as it can affect her fists for punching filthy scumbags. Julius tells her to be patient until they reach the Lord's residence, as they'll have a special reception as usual. Arriving in Snowend, the city doesn't welcome the pilgrimage very well, and Julius wants to know why from Count Padrak. He says the prince is being deceived by the scum who pretends to be a saint. The commander doesn't like the way the old man talks to Saint Diana, but Padrak doesn't care and says he knows the pilgrimage just steals money from the cities it passes through, and he won't let that happen to him. Padrak won't give a single cent of his. The commander says no one would take anything not meant for the pilgrimage. Then Leo intervenes and comments that the money is given by the people to manage the kingdom. It doesn't belong to Count Padrak, and if he delays the pilgrimage for a trivial reason, he'll bring ruin to the kingdom. Padrak says that's not necessary, because there is a goddess who will save the kingdom of Palestine and guide them from now on. He shows them the new guardian angel of Palestine, the saint of the Paumanism religion, Veronetza Hopkins. The skank had been waiting for Scarlet, the great villain of the story, for a good while. The punch-happy lady says she hasn't seen her since Prince Kyle's ball. One of the extras is the son of a priest Scarlet wrecked at the ball. And Julius says even though he's a noble, he's easy to forget since he has no aura or presence. Scarlett says it looks like the baby is going to cry and can dry his tears with her fists. Veronezza says the clown show is over and uses her blessing to enchant her faithful cattle. She asks them to do anything for her. Julius tells everyone not to breathe in the pink mist. And Hopkins says this is the captivation blessing. So Scarlett figures out that's what the skank used to enchant Prince Kyle and make him break off the engagement at the ball. Even though he's dumb, that was too much even for him. Now it all makes sense. Hopkins wants to see the ugly look on Scarlett's face, asking if the lady liked Prince Kyle and wants her to suffer a lot. Scarlett wants to know if Veronezza's blessing doesn't work on women. She says she'd gain nothing by enchanting women. That's a given. Now the brawler lady is prepared, and her heart beats with joy seeing Veronezza's face, knowing it's about to get all disfigured by the violent lady's fists. With that said, the skank sends her army of cattle to attack Scarlett and ignore the others. Julius and the others defend her, while Scarlett tries to cast a sleep spell, but the No-Aura noble stops her with a silent spell, saying her tricks will never work. Now the Palmia mages use a chain spell to restrain Scarlett, and she knows her biggest weakness, since she fights hand-to-hand, is spells that restrict her mobility. However, Scarlett came prepared for these annoying obstacles, and uses her scarlet earrings to break the spell. They were made from specific red crystals that nullify movement-locking magic. Thus, she can beat up all the extras without any difficulty, even delivering a mighty kick that breaks the ground. Veronezza orders her lackey to stop Scarlett from getting any closer. The hot blonde doesn't like Veronezza's tone, but she'll follow orders and detain Scarlett. Isabella, the punishment of love, uses her whip, but Scarlett runs without worry, dodges, and delivers a fine kick to Isabella, knocking her out. She approaches Veronezza and says she didn't get hit enough of the ball and lands a punch. But the skank uses the stolen magic from Saint Diana and protects herself. Then the traitor shows himself and takes Diana hostage. The commander wants to know what this nonsense is, and Dios, who didn't even want to get involved in this big problem, says it's best for everyone if nothing happens to Lady Diana, and holds a knife to her neck. He's an inquisitor of Palmanism too. Dios negotiates a trade of the two saints. If they delay, he might hurt Diana. Leo quickly agrees to the trade and hugs Saint Diana to calm her. With that said, Dios and Veronezza leave with wind magic, and the skank gets away unscathed. Scarlett collapses on the ground, exhausted from using her blessing. Everyone is okay, and she relaxes in the prince's arms, asking to at least be allowed to land the final blow on that skank Saint Veronezza. Scarlett wakes up in a sacred world and meets the god Cronoa, who says he hasn't seen her since she was a fetus, when he gave her her powers. Scarlett thanks him for his great kindness. Cronoa is surprised she's so well behaved, since in the human world she's so violent. Scarlett says it's for the sake of the innocent. Because of this, Cronoa has a favor to ask the punch-happy lady. He'd like Scarlett to recover the saint's blessing from Veronezza, the Palmanism priestess who stole it. He says it all started because of the love the goddess Palmia feels for him. Scarlett is doubtful about this. Cronoa says she's very jealous and didn't like him giving blessings to humans. So between Diana and Scarlett, who received Cronoa's blessing, Palmia decided to take Diana's. But gods are forbidden from interfering directly in the human world. So Palmia decided to use a pawn, Veronezza Hopkins of Palmanism. Palmia created her avatar from a piece of her own hair so it could have a fraction of her powers. But even being a goddess, it's impossible to create a soul for a body. Therefore, Palmia used her powers in another world and ended the life of a schoolgirl to take her soul, placing it into her new avatar. The soul she stole belonged to Theracia Himemia, and now that she's in Palestan, she's the personal agent of the goddess Palmia. The goddess is using her to ruin the people who receive Cronoa's blessing, and destroy the blessing that protects Palestan from all the monsters and evils around it. Scarlett gets more furious than usual. She made Diana suffer and put the kingdom of Palestan in danger for a trivial reason like jealousy? What a piece of work. Then Cronoa gives her a pocket watch from the god of spacetime. If Scarlett holds it up in front of Veronezza, she'll be able to recover Saint Diana's blessing. Plus, the brawler lady gets an upgrade to her Cronoa blessing, maxed out to its limit. She can feel free to test it out on punching bags with the faces of dirty nobles. Scarlett tests her new powers and punches everything. Now she's finally going to land a hit on a target worthy of all this power. Man, I'm excited to see the powered-up Scarlett beat the hell out of this damn Veronezza. And thus ends another magnificent episode of this anime. If you enjoyed it and stayed until the end, leave your like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Check the description and end screens for more videos, and thanks for the constant support. Later.